Welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello, and welcome back to ATD's Demo Day. We are kicking off with our second demo. I'm very pleased to introduce today's second demo of the day with SkillCycle. Work life is complicated. Your talent and development tools shouldn't be. We have Justin Dial, the VP of Sales at SkillCycle, here with us today, who is going to guide us through this next demo. So I'm going to turn it over to him to take it away for us.
Awesome. Thanks, Alexandria. It's great to be with you all today. As she mentioned, I'm Justin. I'm the Vice President of Client Solutions at SkillCycle. So today we're going to talk a little bit about what SkillCycle is. We're going to walk through the coaching element of the platform. There's a lot of other great things we can do, which we'll talk about at a very top level. Just as you know, in the chat today, if you have questions, Ashton, who is on our team, is also going to be answering some of those questions as they come in. And we're also going to be taking some of those for Q&A at the end of the call today. So feel free to throw those in as needed, and we will go back and answer those questions for you. So let me go ahead and bring up my screen share real quick. Okay, perfect. So everyone should be able to see my slide presentation here. But as you can see, our big tagline here is everything you need, nothing you don't. So what we've done with SkillCycle is really tried to give anyone in the HR space or in the L&D space a great platform to really drive development within their organization and reduce a lot of their tech stack. What is SkillCycle, however? We have three core elements within our platform, but really within the center of all of that is learning. So we have the element of our learning experience platform. We also have elements of performance management and workforce insights. Learning experience platform brings some elements of the LMS into our driving of learning of our coaching. The performance management allows you to go through and identify skills, tie that back to compensation, et cetera. And then the most important piece we see for our HR and L&D professionals are those workforce insights. So really being able to see the growth within your organization, the data behind it, so you can create that story with management and with the leadership team to show that the development is truly working within your organization. So as I mentioned, at the center of everything we do at SkillCycle is a human-first connection, and that's through our coach marketplace. And as you notice with this graph here, right, everything circles around that coaching piece, but know that you can use any of the individual elements of our platform or all of them together as an entire suite. Perfect. So let me go ahead and back out of this real quick, and we will go ahead and share our first part of the demo today. So a couple of things I'll just start with, just to let everyone know, we are a very, very hands-on organization. We're a white glove service. So prior to anyone being on the platform, we're going to have a nice group of information to really help drive the development of the organization. So when people get here, they're already going to know what to expect. They're going to know they're having coaching. But the first thing we kick off with is an intake survey in our platform. This intake survey can be customized. However, we do recommend that we keep it very safe and the same that it is here because it is confidential and is going to the coaches that the learner eventually pairs with. So some of the questions we're looking at for a baseline for the beginning part of the development are things like, are you in the office? Are you remote? Are you hybrid? The reason for that is a lot of the skills that we do need to develop people within organizations rely on where they currently are. As we know with the pandemic, a lot of those skills have changed because we're working remote. We might not be in the office as much. So those are critical pieces for our coaches to know. Other things like, are you a vice president? Where are you within the organization? How many years of experience do you have? So on and so forth. So again, this is just to give those coaches a nice base level of information prior to having a conversation with those learners. So I'm going to skip out of this real quick and get you to the live one, but then you got to see that one now. So once they've completed that intake survey, they'll get kicked right into our platform with some pieces in this up next section. What you'll notice very quickly is we've tried to make our platform really seamless and easy to use. So anyone that logs in knows exactly what those next steps are. So if your organization has chosen to turn on goal setting within the platform, do 360s for skill gap analysis or self-assessments, each of those will be in our up next section. Our 360s are really, really great, and we encourage all of our learners to utilize that. They are true 360s where you can invite different participants to fill feedback on either a custom version or one we have out of the box. You'll notice we can select direct managers, direct reports, peers, and you can put in their email address. Now, what I think is really cool about this is instead of us locking you down in a platform and saying that the only people that can provide feedback are those currently on SkillCycle or within your organization, you'll notice that this email field allows you to collect useful feedback and information from vendors, maybe a board of directors, or other individuals outside of your organization. A really great example of this is we have a client that is a movie studio, and they work with some big names like Netflix and Disney, and they were finding it really hard to actually get feedback from those organizations to come up with development plans. So they utilize SkillCycle to go out there, get that feedback, and then help develop their people. And as you might be aware, the film industry isn't typically that to jump into a lot of professional development. So this has been a great test to see how that can work in the space. But once we trigger those and go back, they're really, really easy to fill out. I'm going to click this assessment here because it shows the very same type of view that anyone would have with any of our surveys, assessments, or feedback pieces. As you see, it's really, really, really easy to use. You can select human resources as a department, etc., but completely customizable to your organization. So I'm going to back out of that now because we don't need to complete it. But what I'm going to focus this time on is our coach marketplace. So as I said at the very beginning of this call today, coaching is the core component of how we're developing the employees. The reason why we chose coaching is because it's human first. What we found is just throwing an LMS at individuals or saying, hey, go figure it out, really doesn't work for the vast majority of people these days. Especially as Gen Z and millennials are in the workforce, we really like to have personalized paths of development where we can get development right where we are in the things we need. So that's where coaches come in. Instead of saying, hey, you know what, just go figure out how to be a better communicator, we're able to really drill down and say, you know what, you're really great at these specific elements, but there's a few other pieces like maybe critical conversations we can work on. And they're able to meet them exactly where they are and push that development. Now, what sets SkillCycle apart in our process is that unlike other coaching providers who maybe use some algorithms and remove the human process to force match you with a coach, we instead empower the learner to go through and choose their own coach and interview them if they choose to do so. We also put the learner at the very, very center of everything at SkillCycle. We're already going to have information for the dossier of the coaches saying, hey, what are your goals as an organization? Here's the things you're trying to push for. And we're also going to have that 360 feedback to understand where your employees are sitting with the organization and how they're affecting those people around them. But this is the first point where we actually ask that employer, that learner, what are you looking for support in? And I think that's really, really critical. Are we looking to maybe improve our leadership skills because we're a new leader within the organization? Maybe there's some other things that I might want to focus on other than just leadership. I can take a look at a whole bunch of different categories here. So maybe communication, diversity, inclusion, and you'll see there's a whole host of topics that we can help filter down to help make that pairing a lot easier. So I'm going to hit search for coaches, and you'll notice that changes these tags at the top of our screen. At any point, we can remove any of these. So if I want to remove communication, I can do so. If I want to add something back in, like change management, I can do that as well. I can even type in contextually if I'm looking for something specific in profiles. Now, this is really cool to see, right? We have a lot of coaches in our platform, just about 250 of them, each with a host of skill sets. We're really focused on making sure that our coaching community looks and feels just like the people we're coaching and developing. So we have a huge emphasis on diversity within our own coach marketplace. So if I click on Veranda here, I can see a little bit about her, a bio. I even have a link to her LinkedIn if she chose to provide that. If I look at this coach here, we have some additional information and some other links as well. Now, some coaches may have chosen to also put in some quotes from clients they've worked with that can help identify some other areas they might be able to work with your employees on. But what's really cool, as I mentioned before, I get a choice to actually interview and talk to a coach before making the selection. So I can go in here and say, hey, you know what, on the 20th, I want to choose this coach. I'm going to go have a conversation with her and say, this is the things that I'm looking to develop on, or these are the things that maybe I need help with. I think we've all kind of been there. Me specifically, I like to use the example of when I got promoted to my executive position, I had a lot of imposter syndrome. And it was really key for me to find a coach who could kind of joke around with me on it and say, hey, that's okay, we've all been there. But here's the ways we can actually tackle that and get you up to where you feel you have the most, kind of executive presence, etc. So really, this is a perfect opportunity to talk to the coach about how I learn best. I don't love to read a ton. I don't have time for it. So I focus more on bite-sized elements. Give me a podcast any day. I can sit through that. And every employee will have a different way of learning, and the style that they go through, that coach will really push and drive them down that development plan. Now, once I've selected a coach, just by hitting the select button, I'll go back to my programs here, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit. This is what the programs will start looking like once we've selected a coach and start working on that coaching journey. You'll see that I've completed some sessions. This one has a notification because I haven't gone in and rated a session. I can go in and take notes on any of these, which I think is really cool. So contextually, I can do some action items, some follow-ups that I had from that call, so I can reference it later. I can share these notes with my coach if I choose, but you'll notice that we're really, really particular on making sure that you know who is going to see your data and who is not. So at this moment, the only person that's going to see these notes is me. But if I want to share this with my coach to make sure that we're aligned, I can do that. And you'll see that updates so my coach can see that information. I'm even able to receive notes directly back from my coach, so I'm not losing things in email. And I think this is really, really cool for you. Now, we don't force anyone to use these pieces of the platform. You still have access to contact your coach directly through the platform or via email. But it is a tool that we encourage you to use if it works within the way you like to learn and be developed. If I want to book another session in the future, very simple. Just click book a session. I can take a look at Calendly integration, and I'll go ahead and select time that works for me, and I'll meet with my coach. Now, these coaching sessions can either be held in 30-minute sessions or hour-long sessions, and that's really dependent on your organization and how they like to function, or the individual in their calendar. So we really can fit for both of those on here for you. Now, what I think is also really cool about the platform is that if I go into my profile, I can take a look at any competencies or goals that I've been assigned, and I can even align myself on those goals to help develop with my coach. So for instance, if maybe my goal is to work on reoccurring subscription revenue within the organization, I can say, okay, well, I need to align with that goal. Maybe after talking to my coach, I need a professional development goal on here. Maybe it is something with time management. As I can't type here. So time management, that'd be a personal development goal. I can select the date that I'm going to finish that by, and then here I can describe how I'm going to do this. Once I hit that goal, I can choose to save that with my coach or with another team, and then I can hit goal here, and you'll see that's now been aligned. Really, really great stuff. And you're even able to add your own personal goals that are not shared with your organization. A really cool point of that is imagine potentially you and your family like to have dinner and you're always home really, really late past that. Maybe a personal goal of yours on here would be to be home for dinner at least twice a week. That's not necessarily something we need to have a conversation with our manager about, but that is something that maybe you want to talk to your coach about. How do I actually accomplish this? And that coach might say, well, delegation is a huge thing we need to focus on. So let's go ahead and add a goal about delegation where your organization can see that that's something you're working on. And hopefully that'll give you the time to get home early, finish dinner with your family, etc. And once that is accomplished, we can move our personal goal to completed, and we can move our professional development goal to completed as well. And it's really simple to do. I can just hit update goal status here, select that, and I can say, okay, I'm on track. On track. Ooh, perfect. So I can update that on here, and now you'll see a consistent status update as those change and follow up. And as the stakeholder in your organization, you'll be able to see this both in the manager view and at the organizational wide level as well. Oops, let me back out of that. Okay, of course I clicked out of this real quick, and apologies for that. This is a demo account for you, so I have that survey popping up. Now, as a manager, we find that it's really important to see what programs your employees are linked to, if they have goals and how they're moving down them. So let's look at Willis Reed here. I'm his manager. I'm going to click View Profile. I can see that he's aligned 2 goals with the organization and is currently in 3 programs. Well, let's take a look at those goals. Great. So lead a Q&A effort for the forecast model. I can click that down. As the manager, I can view the goal. I can update the status because maybe we're having our one-on-one. This is actually off track for us now. This is behind. Let's chat. So once I do that, you'll see down here a few seconds ago, I put a note here who did the quote, and then I can have a conversation with my employee on moving this goal along further. The coach also has access to look at these goals if they've been shared, so they can again help push the development of that learner down their journey. So right there, that is the learner side of the platform. And now I'm going to go into the back end for you as the administrators. And I think this is where we start getting into the meat of that workforce insight section. So I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom and I'm going to work my way up. So as an administrator within your organization, as 360s come back within your organization, you'll start to see some top strengths and top areas for development. Just a nice quick snapshot, excuse me. These will be custom to your organization. So right now, these are placeholders for us. But we can see, hey, we're doing great in productivity and quality of work. But where we're lacking are in things like creativity, goal accomplishment, and communication. And what's cool is I'm able to see the stakeholder evaluation as well as the self-evaluation to see if there's any disparities across them. If we see huge disparities, maybe there is an additional lack of conversation or critical skills or ability to communicate effectively in the organization. So that could be some red flags for us. You're also able to see program activity at the very top level with all programs. So out of everyone that's in your system, how many have paired with a coach or mentor, how many have started coaching, and then how many sessions have been scheduled or completed that you've assigned out to those individuals. As I scroll up to the top, this I think is really cool and nifty because we're not actually getting this areas of coaching interest from any surveys. However, we're getting it from the actions that your employees are doing on the platform and the coaches that they're searching for. So we can see pretty quickly, emotional intelligence is something that this company is searching a lot for, but we're able to benchmark that against other organizations we work with on this pink line. So based on other organizations, they fall a lot lower on this and we're much higher. So this can provide some insights on other development opportunities, or maybe there's a communication issue that's going around where we can actually help with some group coaching sessions or really dive a little bit deeper. Any additional data that you need out of our platform, we can build out reporting for you, kick out any type of 360 or performance management report. So you get all the data you need, even in a CSV format. Now, let's take a look at programs because this is how we get to individualize programs for different groups of people. I want you to think about this as a filing cabinet. This is a place where each section can be a little bit different. You can have them department sections, you can have them offices, or you could have them just based on the type of programs they're in. Kind of the world's our oyster. And our team will help you figure that out, put them together and build them for you. But I want you to realize that any goals, any competencies, or any surveys can be assigned to these different groups. So again, they can be very specific and unique to that learning journey of those individuals. So if I look here at this one-to-one coaching program that I'm in, I'm going to go over here and take a look at it. Now, I get a lot of great information, and I have that 10,000-foot view, how many people have started with their coaching sessions, how many people have scheduled and paired, which is really great to see. But as I scroll down, I can also see the individual data here too. So here's another example of me in the platform because I'm all over it. But you'll see here, I didn't actually interview a coach. Well, that could be good, bad, we don't know. Am I engaging? But this is the coach that I'm working with, and I've been assigned 7 sessions. I made a session, I missed a session, I made a session, and I have another session scheduled out on 9/5. So it's really easy for you as the organization to see usage, push people. Our system will do that as well as our team. Allocating sessions is just as simple. I can drop this down to 5 if we need, or I can push that up at any point. Now, we do have 2 programs that we can work with in any organization. We offer first an unlimited coaching plan. So this is something you can go in, add as many sessions as you need per individual. We typically recommend setting about 6 sessions to start with for your employees. It means that they don't feel overwhelmed, they have kind of a natural beginning and end point, and then we can add on more sessions as they work through those. There's no scarcity for the company themselves, but there is scarcity for those employees. And I always like to say, if you got unlimited pizza for a year, the likelihood of you having it every single day, unless you love pizza that much, is probably not as great as if you had a limited amount during that time period. Same with coaching. We want to drive usage and we want to make sure that your employees are actually utilizing everything. So we can do either unlimited or by the hour, which gives you a little bit more ability to move those around. So that's the back end here. Now I'm going to talk quickly about program invites just to show you how easy it is to get people on these programs. I'm in this employee development program, and all I need is an email, first name, and last name. I'll hit send invite. They'll get an email notification, click on the link, and once they log in, they'll be added to that program at any hour of the day. So they can start with their coaching journey or their learning development journey at any point without any intervention from you. Now, this surveys tab up here, I think is really cool too. This allows you to deploy any type of survey you've built in our survey builder to any program, as I mentioned before. We can turn them on or off. You can see how many responses you have prior to running a report, and you can even swap them out as needed. And so I think that's a perfect segue for us to start moving into our survey section. I'm going to click on the survey area here, and I'm going to click add survey. I'm just going to type in some letters here because it doesn't really matter for us at the moment. And I'm going to do a stakeholder survey for a quick example. What I really think is cool about this is I mentioned in the very beginning of this presentation, we have all the things you need and removed a lot of things that you don't. So same thing with our survey builder for us to deploy for your coaching journeys. We can go ahead and hit this to add any additional questions. We have all your normal types of questions that you need, in addition to a bank, so you don't have to recreate the wheel every time. And we have the ability to bring in any competencies and values that you've added to our platform directly into the survey, so you don't have to retype them every single time. So I'm going to click here, competencies and values. These are the ones we've already added into our system. I'm going to click all of them, and I can hit OK. And you'll notice that they're already added into our survey without much more work from us. You have all of the words, all of the specific ratings, etc. And then you could just simply publish the survey and administer that out to your learners. Really cool, very easy to use, and great to see. Competencies, this is where we have them listed. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but know that they're here. What I think is really awesome about our competencies is we're actually showing your learners at any point all of the different statements that they're going to be rated on, and that will be in those different performance review surveys, etc. So that is how those competencies are brought in. So that concludes our demo for today on SkillCycle. So I think we have a few more minutes left, and I do want to open this up for some questions that weren't asked by Ashton. So I think, Alexandria, did you have anything you'd pulled up for us on here?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. Ashton has been doing a great job answering some questions. I want to see if this one by Anjanette was answered. I believe it was. Yes, you can select those. And we had a question about whether folks are ICF certified, which Ashton also answered as well, which sounds really cool. I don't see any additional questions in the chat right now. So for folks who are interested, maybe I'll give them a little extra time. Maybe they're typing chat questions in the chat right now, but what's it like to get started? If folks are interested and they want to get this implemented right away, what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So we can get it set up in as little as a week or 2 weeks, depending on how you'd like to roll that out. One thing that I really want to make sure I hit home run here is, again, we are a white glove service team. So any of those implementation pieces, thinking through, do we want to start with 360s? Do we want a performance management? We can handle all or as much of that as you want. Or we can even just say, hey, we can worry about those surveys a little bit later down the road and just start getting the coaching done. Kicking that can down the road for development tends not to be the best way to work with your people. So thinking just, hey, if I can get them to talk to somebody that can help them through some of the things that they need, even without us doing the surveys, is really, really key. So that's a really simple process for us to do. And really, like I mentioned, we're going to talk to you in depth about what you're looking to solve for, how we can help you, kind of attack those as well. I see a question here as well.
Yeah. Can you give us a little just over high level overview of SkillCycle again?
Yeah, definitely. So SkillCycle at its core component has career coaching to it, right? Professional coaches, all the way from entry level to the executive suite at scale. All of our coaches are ICF certified or similar, and we really focus that on the human connection. Now, in addition to career coaching, which is our primary model of development, we have performance management, goal setting, and competencies attached to that as well. And we can even run internal mentorship programs through our platform in the same exact way that you saw our coach network. So just imagine putting your own employees on that platform with their picture and a little bit of bio. Your own employees can self-select if you choose, or we can force match them in the back end so they can start down that coaching journey. You have visibility into how many sessions they've had. You can even attach resources to that program for them to take a look at as well.
Okay, so you just answered 2 questions in that one reply on Jeanette.
Great.
So yes, mentorship programs, yes, yes. And Mohammed has a question. How do the individual reports, what do those look like? And what kind of import or export capabilities are there?
Yeah, great question. So I'll show you a quick example we made for a client that's redacted. This is one of our 360 feedback reports you can take a look at. And again, we can customize these for organizations. So if you don't love these colors, that's totally fine. But you can see, right, we have all our different ratings, again, customized to you. We can break those up by different competency averages. And we can even show disparity ratings for the direct reports, managers, and peers. So really the world's our oyster on how we push these out, because we have a huge data room in the back where we can kick out these reports for you as in any format that you really need on there. And then what was the second part of that question?
Importing and exporting.
Yes. So depending on what that looks like, our team can work. Pretty much CSVs would be our import or export for that. Any type of integrations we can talk about for long term, depending on what you're looking to accomplish. I know on our roadmap currently are some HRIS systems just to get some basic information back and forth. But we always kind of challenge to think a little bit differently and moving some of those pieces out of HRIS systems and payroll to really create a learning experience and environment. I really want you to think of SkillCycle as an ability for you to reduce your tech stack as needed, right? So you can remove some of those engagement or survey pieces, you can remove some of the performance management, and really transition it into a learning atmosphere.
Okay. Yep. Anjanette has a question, then I have one as well.
Yeah,
so
great.
Can we integrate our own reports?
Yeah, so directly integrating, we'll have to have a conversation on that. However, what you can do is you can bring anything to your coaching sessions with you. So if your employees have already done a 360 or they've done a performance management or performance review piece, simply just bring them, send them to their coach. The coach can review them and work down their development plan. So very easy. We can work with your existing systems.
So folks might be interested and they need some type of pilot project or use case scenario that's going to help influence the decision makers or folks who actually have the purchasing power within their organizations. They might be here listening to this demo right now. So how could SkillCycle partner with one of those L&D professionals? Are there like trial opportunities or a pilot project? How do you help them so that they can actually influence internal stakeholders that they can move forward with a platform like this?
Yeah, great question. So we offer a couple of things. One, when you go through the process with this and you like the platform, we'll offer you a trial for you and another stakeholder for 3 coaching sessions on our platform, really to see what that experience is like. You can use those 3 coaching sessions to ask questions of the coaches about how it works, or you can actually use it for your own development. I encourage you to use it for your own development because that's the experience your employers are going to have. So no strings attached to that. We just need to make sure that it is something you're actually evaluating in your organization. Beyond that, if you are looking to pilot within your organization, totally fine. We still do 12-month contracts for those, and just so you have the contract out there, but we can set those up in any way you want. So if you say, hey, I have 10 people I want to try with unlimited coaching, great, we can do that. Maybe you even say, hey, I just want to start with 60 hours of coaching to distribute across a few people, totally fine as well. We understand that for a lot of groups or organizations, coaching is pretty new to them. And it takes a little bit of change management to really think through how to put that in the organization. We get it. We want to be your support. We want to help you through that. And we understand it's a huge change management exercise. So you'll be supported through the entire process, both with our coaches, but also our internal team. Our philosophy here is it takes a village to raise an employee to be a great learner. And we're that village. We're the ones that will help you do that in conjunction with you as well.
Very cool. Technology to help scale and make sustainable coaching programs. I love it. Any closing thoughts before we wrap up for this demo?
Yeah, no, I just, I love this platform. I'll say it, I'll raise my hand up and say I'm a product of SkillCycle. I have never gotten development like this in any organization. And when your employees feel like they're getting the development they need, the help that they want from external partners, where there's no fear of saying, hey, I don't feel like I know how to do my job, or I'm lacking this skill, right? It's somebody who's unbiased that can help you actually walk away with applicable skills, and if you fail, it's totally fine. They're there to help you think through that. And we know that as managers, we don't have a ton of time to do that. So lean on those individuals that have the expert opinions and expert powers to help your employees grow and develop. I'm sure you'll see a ton of growth in the organization.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Justin. Thank you to SkillCycle, and thank you to all of our attendees. We are going to send you off for another break. Thank you for joining us today for our demo day. We're going to go ahead and take a 15-minute break, and we're going to return with our third demo, which will be with Cloverleaf. So I will see you all soon.